Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles because we're going to talk about Doctor Who, and she does not care about Doctor Who, and neither does the general public, because there's a rumor going around that the BBC is basically going to cancel Doctor Who, or at the very least, Ncuti Gatwa, who's the current doctor, is going to leave, and that puts a big question mark on the future of the show. Now, season 3 of new Doctor Who, the one on Disney Plus, has not been confirmed. Disney agreed to bankroll 26 episodes. They still have, I guess, 12 of those to air yet, but the ratings are not good, right? The ratings for the new Doctor Who are abysmal. They're actually the worst the show has had since like the late 80s. And obviously, you know, getting Russell T Davies back did not bring back the audience, because when he came back, he was like a pod person. He was a very different Russell T Davies than the Russell T Davies from the 2000s. This was like hyper woke Russell. And, you know, they were insulting the fans. We had Ncuti Gatwa telling people go touch grass. We had very obvious DEI talking points, I guess I'll call it, in this version of Doctor Who, where it's always been there. I mean, New Who especially, it's always been there, but not as in your face as it was, you know, especially during the Gatwa run. So we're going to talk about this. I think personally, it's going to be paused for a while for a number of reasons. Chief of which is Disney was helping bankroll this show, and Disney is canceling its own stuff. They don't own Doctor Who. It's not bringing a return on investment. They've been looking to cut costs wherever they can. And Doctor Who is not a priority for them, obviously, because it's not even their own IP. Even their own IP, like Willow, they canceled it. They purged it from the Disney Plus platform. I think if they could do that with Doctor Who, they would do it. I'm just saying. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You got like 2 or 3 days yet. Check out the Shadowbinders pin set on Kickstarter. This should be a pretty quick campaign. The artwork, everything's ready to go. We've already coordinated with the manufacturer. These will be the first products with the Nidaria branding on them. And they should be flipped pretty quick. Basically, as soon as we get them in, we'll get them out to you. And we're going to be moving on to a bunch of projects this year. We got a bunch of things planned. Thank you very much for the support. That's on Kickstarter. Check it out. This is coming from The Sun. Let's see. We got a couple of versions here. I had multiple people send me stories about this. People were like, yeah, this could be the end. The Sun, I think, broke it. Doctor Who facing axe as lead star Ncuti Gatwa quits amid woeful ratings and fans' fury at woke storylines. Ncuti's exit as the Time Lord would be the earliest exit of a Doctor, bar one exception. I think we're talking about the 8th Doctor. He was only in the pilot, the movie. Doctor Who is facing the axe with Ncuti Gatwa poised to quit and the crew claiming to be laid off. Now, this is interesting because I do remember seeing something a couple of weeks ago. I didn't cover it because I didn't know if it was newsworthy or not, but Bad Wolf Studios was looking for people to rent the studio space out. And it's like, well, if you're making Doctor Who, why do you need somebody to rent the space, right? And the truth is that season 3 is up in the air. They have no idea. So the recent series suffered abysmal ratings, with fans outraged by the BBC shoehorning wokery into storylines. That is true. I actually had some hope with Ncuti Gatwa coming back, and then David Tennant and Catherine Tate coming back, and they ruined it. They totally ruined David Tennant's Doctor. They dragged him, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sticking around. Sorry, this is not what I wanted. So let's go down the list here. Man, they got so many ads on The Sun. Bosses have postponed a decision until Ncuti's second season is aired later this year. But the Scott 32 is already believed to have filmed his regeneration exit scene, and the crew fear the BBC will shelve the show after 62 years. This happened with Jodie Whittaker too, and they denied it. And we're going to talk about that because the BBC is denying it. But they did this with Jodie Whittaker. It was leaked that they filmed her regeneration scene. It was very wonky because they had her regenerate into David Tennant. They didn't know who the next Doctor was going to be. It just was not going to be her. And she regenerated into David Tennant. but he was still wearing like the David Tennant costume. That goes against like, years of Who lore that usually when the Doctor regenerates, he's wearing the last outfit, right? So they didn't know, obviously, who the next Doctor was going to be, but there were rumors that they were going to try to get David Tennant back, which they did. But again, they managed to screw that up too. An insider says Ncuti doesn't want to be tied to the series beyond this and plans to relocate to LA with several Hollywood projects standing by for him. His team also sees a lot of fan backlash from the series, and they don't want the perception of him still being the Doctor to get in the way of future work. So basically, he wants to salvage his career, and he thinks the only way he can salvage his career is to get away from Doctor Who. And that's kind of what happened with, I think, Jodie Whittaker, too. I think she was like, yeah. Because I think Jodie Whittaker, I think she's an okay actress. I really do. I don't think Ncuti Gatwa was a bad actor either. I just don't think either one of them are right for the Doctor. And they had shit to work with, too. And in Gatwa's case, he put his foot in his mouth by telling people to go touch grass. At this point, they need to be begging viewers to come back. And they did the opposite. They tried to chase them off. They said the show has been poorly managed in recent years, and there's a lot of people who have been working on the show for years and are now being cast aside due to poor leadership. People warned some episodes were getting too caught up on agenda rather than telling a story, and those people got shouted down, ignored. Ncuti's first series, which began last May, attracted between 2.25 million and 3.18 million viewers, a tiny fraction of what the show used to pull in. That's true. Is the lowest viewed, lowest rated version of Doctor Who, to the best of my knowledge. And you could see the drop off. Like I remember when Jodie Whittaker first started, and they had like record numbers. They did. I think a lot of people were, if they weren't willing to give her a chance per se, they wanted to see what a female Doctor would be like, right? They were morbidly curious, and the ratings went through the roof. And I remember everybody being like, oh my God, Doctor Who's back, guys. Doctor Who is so back. These are the best ratings since David Tennant. Doctor Who is back. Jodie Whittaker has saved the show. And then you could see like week after week, people leaving as it became very obvious the show was boring as fuck. It really is it's a very boring show. And it was also woke, but not as woke as Gatwa's. Gatwa's is like, man, hold my beer, right? Controversy over the storylines has ramped up since 2023. Russell T Davies returned as showrunner. A trio of anniversary specials kicked off with a plot involving a character who was able to save London because they were trans. Another saw the Doctor, played by David Tennant, realizing he was gay after he crushed on Sir Isaac Newton, who they made black, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this, Netflix? Viewing figures were still 2 million up on the episodes to come under Ncuti, accompanied by a new companion, Ruby Sunday. The first full series had plots slamming everything from capitalism to Christianity and introduced a new enemy played by a drag queen. Again, this isn't, I think this is Davies unchecked because look, those kinds of storylines were in early New Who, especially under Davies. This is a guy who did Queer as Folk. I think that was his show. So like, there definitely was a gay vibe to the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who. But that being said, it was still made predominantly for a general audience. And you could tell that they didn't hate the audience back then. And now it feels like they just absolutely hate the audience. It's like, we don't want those old men watching Doctor Who. They said the crew working on the show in Cardiff are said to be furious at being left in limbo after filming wrapped last week. And that would explain why they're looking for people to rent the studios. The insider said word on the set is that the BBC will shelve the series for at least 5 years. The crew were told not to hold their breath for work on the series for at least 10 years. 10 years. As we scramble to find work, those responsible get to ride off into other well-paid projects without any repercussions. Filming wrapped on Friday afternoon with no fanfare or celebration. Ncuti's exit as a Time Lord would be the earliest since Eccleston. Oh yeah, Eccleston. Yeah, left after a season because he had problems with, management. Duh. I keep forgetting. It's funny. I love Christopher Eccleston, but I keep forgetting he even was a doctor because he was on for like 13 episodes. And that was it. Tennant, Matt Smith, Pierre Capaldi, Jodie Whittaker all did at least 3. before handing over the TARDIS key, and I forgot Jodie even did 3. She did like 2.5, right? Because didn't they do Flux? Wasn't even like a full season. Ncuti was brought in by Russell T Davies, who rebooted the franchise in 2005, only to return 2 years ago. A lot of people thought this is, myself included, thought that they were going to course correct Doctor Who, maybe retcon the Timeless Child, which was a terrible storyline where they retcon the whole origin of the Doctor. The Doctor's no longer a Time Lord, but some other kind of alien that has infinite lives. And it was stupid. He was in Barbie. He's been making another film, The Roses, with Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. He's thought to have a string of other projects on both sides of the Atlantic. Spokesperson said Doctor Who has not been shelved. As we have previously stated, the decision on season 3 will be made after season 2 airs. The deal with Disney Plus was for 26 episodes. Exactly half of those have to transmit yet. Yeah, but this is the thing. And they issued a statement about it, which basically said, yeah, we haven't aired season 2 yet. Here's the thing. This happens all the time. Like when we reported that She-Ra, the Netflix She-Ra show, was done, it was canceled, it was over. People argued with us because they're like, well, they haven't even aired seasons 4 and 5 yet. I'm like, dear dumbasses, do you not realize these shows are filmed way ahead of when they actually air, right? Or cartoons especially. They're animated like a year or two sometimes ahead of when they actually are broadcast. Same with Doctor Who. They had a 26 episode order. I do not believe Disney is going to bankroll anymore given their financial situation. And also the BBC, there's, I'd have to look into this a little bit more, but apparently the USAID thing, the BBC was getting a large portion of its funding from US taxpayers, and that rug has been pulled out from underneath them. And then if Disney decides it's not worth it, why the hell would Disney, God, look at these ads. They just keep popping up. You close them and they keep popping up. Why would Disney bankroll more Doctor Who when they could use that money on their own stuff, right? I don't see Disney renewing the deal at all. The viewership was low. Literally nobody was subscribing to Disney Plus to watch Doctor Who. I think that's what they thought was going to happen when they made the deal. But yeah, I mean, I don't see there being more Doctor Who for a while. And then we have the whole thing with the TV license, which again, I don't fully understand. But my basic understanding of it is that is going to get yanked here pretty soon. That funding is going to get yanked. And Doctor Who is a very expensive show, right, to produce. Unless you just, park them on Earth and have coffee shop adventures or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I could see it for no other reason. I could see him bailing on Doctor Who just to save his own ass. I mean, I could. It's a toxic show to be associated with at this point. And same with Jodie Whittaker. I think I don't know if she got pushed out, but I think she was trying to save her rep because she's going to want to work again. And if she's the person that's responsible for getting Doctor Who canceled or whatever, it's not a good look. You don't want to be that person, right? And meanwhile, they had Peter Capaldi, who played Doctor Who forever. Capaldi loved playing the Doctor. He had shitty storylines, but my God, he loved playing the Doctor. And I loved watching him as the Doctor. Even in terrible episodes of Doctor Who, I would watch them just to watch Peter Capaldi because he was so damn good as the Doctor. And they could have him forever. They could have just swapped writers, got some people that actually knew what the hell they're talking about, and just run with Peter Capaldi for another 10 years, and things would have been great, I think. But who the hell knows? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. There it is. That's the rumor. Again, huge rumor, but I'm looking at some other evidence and it just feels like there's no point. Why the hell would you dump more money into Doctor Who when the returns are rapidly declining? Gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.